Hey everybody, Wanna Wisdom here. It is now, I guess, Thursday, the 27th of March. A little just right after midnight is what happened to me. But nonetheless, we just unboxed Punk Shock. I've got that video actually uploading to YouTube. Batteries were low on the camera, kind of had to slow things down. Nonetheless, I picked her up at GameStop, my local GameStop, not online. $9.99 was the price. Had a nice selection of both the Spring Edition Punk Shock and Frino, as well as this guy, which is Springtime Trigger Happy. Springtime Trigger Happy is, of course, a crazy looking in-game variant of Big Bang Trigger Happy. Series 3 pose, which you can conveniently see here in my left hand. Again, this is right here, blue base, new pose, showcasing his Wow Pow, which in this case is Rocket Ride. It's Big Bang Trigger Happy, again, is Series 3. And what they did here, if you note, this is basically the exact same pose, just painted up, kind of special for Easter. Punk Shock and Frino in the special packaging, they're actually just kind of like a little, different packaging. They're going to be the exact same figure. For example, had I picked up Frino at GameStop tonight, he would have been in something roughly similar to what you see here, but the figure, card, everything else is exactly the same, so it's kind of just geared up for Easter. This, however, is an in-game variant. What I mean by that, when I put Big Bang Trigger Happy on the Portal of Power, he's going to be your standard, typical fare Trigger Happy. He's just going to look like he always has. However, when I come in and I put this guy on, he is actually going to appear just like he does here, so he'll be like kind of like that pastel purple Trigger Happy. Obviously, if you're a Trigger Happy fan, this is awesome, particularly if you're like a fan of this type of a color scheme. Easter in general, there's lots of ways to view this as a win. But again, I picked mine up from GameStop. $9.99 was the price. Sadly, they put the stickers on there. You can get them off if you're so inclined. Other retailers don't stick an actual price tag on them. Important thing to note, this is actually printed right here, Spring Edition Skylander. If you can't tell, that is actually Trigger Happy, kind of like cracking an egg, popping out of one. Speaking of eggs, this packaging is actually rounded off, as is the actual blister pack. It's almost both an egg shape. For example, obviously the light cores are always a little bit different. They kind of have that straight edge there. But when I put him back to back with Enchanted Light Core Star Strike, you can actually see right there how much smaller, how much more streamlined it is. And then again, where this is kind of like a rectangular shape, if you will, on Enchanted Light Core, very easy to tell. I mean, this is like an Easter egg. There's a couple of different angles for you, and again, in comparison, this is like the typical shape we've all come to know and expect from Skylanders. So Amazon.com had these guys Monday or Tuesday. They're intermittently restocked. They're basically selling out. By the time I could tweet it, one or two of you might be able to actually buy them. A couple others might have it in the cart, and then it's gone by the time you get there. Reason for that, the scalpers move early, obviously. Some stores, like my local Toys R Us, has boxes of these things. They're refusing to sell them until April 6th. Other Toys R Us's have lifted the street date. Apparently that was a corporate initiative, and some stores are not following that, or have poor management or communication. Something's breaking down there, but basically they're kind of screwing themselves, because people like me that would have bought it from Toys R Us, probably even without the 3 for $20 deal, which is awesome if you get in on that, I'm going elsewhere. Target, no signs of any Spring Edition Skylanders. My Walmart, also nothing. And yes, I combed the entire store. I know exactly where to look. So lots of you have reported like the little end cap boxes that have shown up. Initially didn't have the Spring Editions, and they got stocked with them. Not the case in my Walmart, for whatever that's worth. But again, interesting development. I got mine at GameStop. So nonetheless, the background here is kind of like orange and yellow, as opposed to like the blue that we saw in Punk Shock's figure. Very fitting for the tech element, and obviously it kind of matches well with the original Trigger Happy, if anyone cares about that sort of a thing. Now, coming down here, we've got the tech element logo, Springtime Trigger Happy. No gold, no glory. When I say in-game variant, again, I've had a lot of people question me about this. He literally appears like this. Scarlet Ninjini back there, she appears just like that in the game. Granite Crusher appears like that in the game. Red metallic Dune Bug. And then back there we've got purple metallic Wrecking Ball. E3 Hot Dog is tucked away back there behind Chaos now. But those guys are actually chase variants. They're not going to appear differently in the game, if that makes sense to you. Nitro Freeze Blade is an example of an in-game variant. He actually appears differently. So again, I can't stress it enough. I know some of you still having issues with it. He will look like this. I know it's crazy. It's going to look funky. I'm excited to see it actually on my TV screen. But it will appear just like the figure. So coming around to the backside, this is kind of cool. We've got Stealth Elf showcased here. Inset box art, that's highlighting the Wow Pow, which is absolutely hilarious. It's Rocket Ride again. But the cool thing here, the actual featured characters are the other Spring Edition Skylanders, which is that, of course, being Frino and Punk Shock. Frino has standard packaging available now and the Spring Edition. Punk Shock right now has yet to be released in standard packaging. That will come, but again, that's why I said if you see her in her Spring Edition packaging, my advice is go ahead and buy it. That way you're not caught up in a rat race or something. Interesting thing here, I'm assuming since he's an in-game variant, he probably wasn't coded into Giants or SSA. There's a chance that he might actually display, just like Series 3 Trigger Happy would. Or he might just be totally invalid on those games. I'm actually going to have to try that out and let you know. But main thing we care about is he works in Swap Force. Counts towards all your accolades, quests, collections, things of that nature. On the bottom, I know some of you are into that stuff, so you can have it scanned. There you go. Number back here on the back of the packaging is EO147. Now, we're going to go ahead and cut to the good stuff here. These do seem to be packaged a little bit better than like the Wave 4. This one actually cut much easier than Punk Shock's, but you could actually reseal these if you want to. That's not something I do, so I'm not too concerned about it. That said, there's a good look at that Easter egg. Again, you could come in and trap characters if you were so inclined. We'll toss that aside. Again, if you do that, or if you cut this out for your collection or storage devices, go ahead and cut that tape so you don't actually just mangle it whenever you get him out. What I like to do is come in these hinge back like so. Then I can get my thumb on that thick piece of plastic. Come in, and I like to grab by the base, and that lets me get the character out, hopefully without breaking anything. This actually looks pretty good. We'll take a detailed look here in a second. The cool thing here, let's slide this out again. The toughest part is just not bending the card up too terribly bad. You get the stat card and the sticker sheet. Sticker sheet you can use for your storage cases, your Power A lids, shoe boxes, whatever you do with them. Some of you hang them on walls, put them on your poster from the starter pack. That's what that's going to look like. There's the name tag, and below that you have a QR code and a web code for your iOS and Android apps. Now, these card stats I will dig out, or try to dig out, Big Bang Trigger Happy stats. I'm assuming they'll be the same, we'll have to see. But power 100 out of 200. Defense, armor, 30 out of 200. Speed, 70 out of 200. Luck, 120 out of 200. Add all that up, we've got 320 out of a potential 800. Now, Springtime Trigger Happy's in-game stats, not quite sure how they're going to, jive up with what we had factory, but Big Bang Trigger Happy would have clocked in 200 max health, 50 speed, 30 armor, 10 critical hit, 25 elemental power. So we'll kind of see how that translates once I get this guy on the portal. Obviously, I have not done that yet. Now, I guess we can cover the background story. Trigger Happy is more than his name. It's his solution to every problem. Nobody knows exactly where he came from. He just showed up one day in a small village, saving it from a group of terrorizing bandits by blasting gold coins everywhere with his custom-crafted cheaters. Similar tales were soon heard from other villages, and his legend quickly grew. Now everyone in all of Skylands knows of the crazy gold slinger that will take down any bad guy, usually without bothering to aim. Again, that particularly comes in handy with bouncing bullets. But I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of pastel colors, obviously. Most guys probably aren't. obviously given Easter time, you kind of make exceptions for that stuff. It's kind of neat. But this actually looks way better than I thought it would. I was kind of scared to see this thing in person. It's actually a really good angle there. But it's like a sky blue pastel for your base color. Tip of the big bomb is actually going to be kind of like a pastel green. Then there's a pinkish purple. I don't know if fashion's for some kind of stripe. Same thing back here. It's kind of like a greenish yellow. This is that same green that I think kind of matches the tip of the bomb now. Trigger Happy himself. The tongue is roughly the same color. The eye mask is done differently. Little fur around him. That's actually kind of done up, I think, in maybe a lighter color. Could be the same. I'm not really sure. But interesting thing here, his teeth even are kind of like that same light pastel purple color. They tied that in then as well there on the back of the rocket. Side by side, this will kind of showcase these to you. Again, it is the exact same toy. It's figure. It's just a repaint. So it looks really good in my opinion. Again, it's not gold. It's not anything crazy that I'm adamantly against, so I don't really have any qualms with it. But I am excited to actually see what he will look like in the game. I know it should be roughly akin to this, but as you know, sometimes the legendaries will be slight color variations between what you expected. Same thing with like Scarlet and Granite, things along those lines. So I'm excited to get him on there and kind of see how crazy he looks. More importantly, what I'm really wondering is on that Wow Pow rocket ride, I wonder if it's going to be the standard gold rocket or if it'll look like this. I'm thinking there's a good chance it'll look like this, but I'm not saying that. I'm just speculating at this point. That would be really, really awesome. So we'll have to monitor that one. That said, this is really cool. Obviously, the ideal thing here, this is like a gift for Easter. You know, the Easter rabbit hides it. I don't know, I'm sure if you have a daughter, I mean, this would probably be right up a little girl's alley year-round. You don't need Easter as a reason. But just the color scheme there is what I'm basing that off of. And again, if you're a hardcore collector, you can pick these up, keep them sealed, display them, open them up. If you they make Easter eggs now that are actually like big enough. I think you could fit this guy in. Obviously, they're easier to find when they're that size. But in all honesty, you could fit... You know, I mean, Frino's a lot smaller than that. You could fit these characters inside like a legit old school Easter egg if you wanted to. They would need to be like a size or two bigger. But I've seen those. I do know they exist. That's another option if you didn't want to like hide the packaging out there. Or I know a lot of people, you know, have like a little basket for their kids with toys and candy already in it. Things along that nature. That's why the packaging is different. That's why it's a little bit special. But once again, I am pretty amped up to see how this guy pans out in person, in particularly that Wow Pow. But he should look crazy. It should be a lot of fun. Very fitting for Trigger Happy. If there was any character that you could think of to just throw some crazy off-the-wall color scheme at, one of those would be Trigger Happy. He pretty much flows with anything. So that said, again, I got mine at GameStop, a local brick-and-mortar GameStop. $9.99 was the price. I would recommend you start checking with your GameStop. Maybe your Toys R Us is selling them early. Amazon, if you prefer to stay home. Also be on the lookout for GameStop.com. Might soon be putting these guys out. Walmart's hit and miss. You know, if you're in there regularly, definitely check. But again, mine was from GameStop, $9.99, nicely stocked. I think I'm the first person to buy them, so it worked out well for me. But I will leave it at that. If you take that link at the top of the blog video description, it will take you to the blog. I'll have some pictures, side-by-side shots of these guys. I'll do the stat comparisons on there. Once I've gotten him in the game, done the intro, I'll have his base stats compared with Big Bang Trigger Happy's. Pretty much everything you would ever want to know about Springtime Trigger Happy will be covered in that blog post. So again, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google+, whichever you prefer. Again, as a subscriber, anytime I go out in the world and find something cool or find it early, I'll get back home as soon as I can, make the video. As a subscriber, you'll be amongst the first to know, so definitely make sure you're subscribed if you have not already. But like I said, I'm going to go crank out this guy's introduction, see what he looks like. I might even upgrade him. I don't know. Again, I'm really curious to see if Rocket Ride is going to transition to this. If it does, bravo. That's going to be a really cool feature and selling point. Chase McCain is hidden somewhere out here. Kind of hard to see him this time. Got him set and hidden a lot faster than I did in Punk Shock's unboxing. But just as a hint, think maybe center area, Trap Shadow realm, and look for his hair. That might be all some of you could see of him. So he is hidden pretty dadgum good this time. But as you can see, this guy looks crazy, very fitting for Trigger Happy. I'm excited once again to get him out there, see what he looks like. So I'll quit rambling so I can do just that, get this video editing and uploading so you can actually see it. But definitely keep your eyes out. Again, GameStop is now falling into the fray for you, so definitely give that a shot. If all else fails, and your Toys R Us is sticking to that street date of April 6th, they'll probably have a crud ton of them. They seem to have the most Jolly Bumble Blasts, in my opinion, so I'm just kind of swinging it off of that. But again, he looks way better than I thought, so I think some of you may be pleasantly surprised as well. But nonetheless, it's one of those figures, when you see it, it was pretty hysterical, as is Big Bang Trigger Happy, but now when you see it in the pastel colors, it just, you almost can't help but laugh and have a smile come to your face. So I'll leave it at that. Again, thanks for watching, and as Big Bang Trigger Happy, or Springtime Trigger Happy, would say, no gold, no glory.